Well, huzzah, huzzah! Come back, my friends. Present my bitches with delight.
Stop! Stop, thief! He's stealing my stuff.
Ah! I have stolen it.
He's stealing my
I have stolen it.
He's
It's
stealing my
mine now.
stuff, chat. Like, not a good way to start the day.
I didn't realize that this was the resin one.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't have any of the plastic dreadnoughts.
That's probably a good thing.
I said that's a lie. I haven't built any of the ones that came. I have 2 that came in the box set, right?
Mhm.
But I haven't done anything with them. It's not my intention. I have all the resin ones that are Legion specific for Word Bearers and Dark Angels. So
Do you remember which gray this is? This looks like dark neutral.
Dark Neutral, yeah.
What's up, chat? How's it going? Are y'all having a wonderful day today? It's Wednesday, Hump Day. That's not the right button to click on. That one is, though. Oh, let's see. Paint Liquor, T. Schmidt, Arctic Mini Painting Studio, Line Creative. How is it going? I hope y'all are having a wonderful Wednesday so far.
I don't.
Well, this is only to be expected.
What if, like, for the first time ever, I was like, I hope everybody's having a rotten day.
My day's rotten. I want everybody else's day to be rotten. Screw you guys.
I haven't had a rotten day. I've had a very busy day.
You have had a busy day.
Holy busy.
I wouldn't say it was rotten, though.
Mean old man yells at clouds. Screw that old guy. He's just mean. No matter how bad my day has ever gone, I hope you guys have always had great days.
True.
That's just the way it works for me. I want to know that if I've had a rough day, somebody out there is having a good one. Because if I'm the balancing in the force, that's fine. I'll take one for the team. Most of my bad days come from things that were avoidable, like if I'd have just done the work earlier, you know, or if I'd have just stayed on top of whoever was supposed to be doing the work earlier.
Hey, T. Schmidt, work on your chaos trim with me. I'm working on chaos trim myself. Let's do it.
Heretics. All of you.
How's it going, Tim? Big Bobzilla, thank you for the tier 1 sub.
Big
Speria,
Bob? What?
Thank you for the tier 1 as well. Some early subs in stream today. Means it's going to be a good one.
Big Bob, what?
Big Bobzilla. I said it right. Hashtag Team Chen. Got the call this morning. I've got to go to work on my day off. Love, hate being the guy that gets called every time. Yeah.
I mean, it shows they respect you, question mark?
Well, maybe respect is strong of a word for that.
They know he works cheap.
Or they...
He's the one that always says yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that was always the bane of my existence, is that they'd be like, hey, Jason, you know what we really need? I'm like, okay.
What is it now?
All right, I'll help. Then it just grows into an expectation, right?
Yeah, you do it
It's so good,
well
man.
enough for so long.
This color looks so good.
It does. You've crafted a delightful recipe of it.
Really comes back alive. You're the moron that always says yes. Like I said, man, I've been in those shoes. I've been like, yep, anything for the company. Let's do it. I'm also the moron that always says yes here, so it hasn't ever changed.
You
Just
run
so
it
you know.
though, so you know.
Huh?
You run it though, so.
Well, I hire other people that say yes, but we don't run it that way. You know, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of times where we're like, you know what we need you to do? Come in on Saturday. You know,
Yeah.
we try to keep it pretty easy around here. You've seen.
I have.
I hate the idea of people being here when they're not intended to be. Like, if, you know, what's the easiest way to say that? I don't want you spending your free time in my office, right? Get the heck out, have your life, enjoy it, so that when you come to the office, you feel like this is a place you enjoy working. If I'm always asking, or, you know, Jen's always like hammering people to be here overtime and all that, I feel like that just wears people out. Not the way we want to be.
You guys do a great job of taking care of us. Doing
Go
right
have
by
some
us.
fun, have a life. Work will be here tomorrow.
I will say though, this is one of those places where you don't mind going the extra mile.
Well, and I think
Because
that's the
it's-
thing, right? Is we do know that there are times where it's like, as a business, you're like, hey, man,
You
if
gotta
if
do
you
it,
can give
you
us
know?
a couple extra hours, you know, this week, that's great. We're paying overtime. But we always do it in a standpoint of not being forced. Like, hey, it's available if you need it, right? Need to make
Yeah.
some extra bucks. We got a lot to do. Let's do this. But it's never expected or forced. During Christmas was the best example of that, man. We were hammered right after the holidays
Oh,
and during
really?
the holidays, and everybody really stepped up to the plate. And we're like, yep, whatever it takes, we're here.
Almost like our crew is super cool. There are no bad eggs here.
Well, there's that
Super-
one guy,
Yes, I was about to say. Except for that Jacob guy.
that Jacob guy.
Who's that Jacob guy?
Oh, Jacob's so funny. Yesterday, he was walking down the hall, and Jacob is not a bad guy, by the way.
No, he's a great guy.
Jacob is wonderful. We only have wonderful people here. We're very blessed. But he was walking down the hall yesterday. There's a hallway in between the fulfillment side of the building and the production side of the building. And the production side of the building is now where our employee lounge lunch area is. And he was walking to the lunch lounge area, right, about midday. And I was bolting through the office. I'm flying through the little hallway that divides the two, and he was putting on his sweatshirt. He was pulling his hoodie over his head, and he couldn't see for a brief minute. I just happened to come through the hall right as he had the sweatshirt over his eyes and his head. And I was like, boo! And he freaked absolute out. It was like, I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
That's
I was like,
amazing.
well, we're replacing Jacob.
Oh my gosh.
Yakov, the Russian spy, has expired.
So funny.
It really was. Well, for me, it was. I had a good time with it.
Did he have a good laugh about it afterwards?
They're almost big enough to open an East Coast warehouse. Don't worry, you can run it. We're almost big enough to have an East Coast warehouse? No.
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 That is, in fact, not the case.
That is, in fact, very far from reality. I think that the reason we are bringing on Alliance Distribution is so that we don't have to have other places. Because I don't want another office. If Monument Hobbies were to have another office, it will be overseas. We probably could envision having like a European HQ at some point to help manage all of the biz we do over there, because it's getting harder and
Of which
harder.
there is a lot and more.
Matter of fact, I was here bright and early this morning to have a video conference with Germany, was one of those where it's like, I got here early. The meeting was like 10 minutes long. It was, it was so depressing. It was a very good meeting, but it's like, I got here early, everything fired up and in business mode for 10 minutes. I thought it was way more information needed from me. I had all my homework done, all this stuff done, ready to go, and they were like, okay, great, fine, thank you, bye. Oh, is that it? Is that it?
Guess so.
That was it. Thought long and hard after the meeting about going and laying on the couch in the lounge.
That sounds real good, to be honest.
I'm gonna grab my 30 minutes of sleep back.
That couch is
The watchers in the dark
ridiculously-
or Jawas take the early meetings. I don't have those. They're not trustworthy is the problem.
Those darn Jawas?
You wind up coming into the office wondering why nothing's working. Too many fires. Like, I thought I left and everything was fine.
Your refrigerator's missing a part.
Nah, I'm a subscriber of I won't ask anybody to do something I wouldn't do. And so I'm not gonna tell Carter or one of the other gang to be here early for a meeting just because I don't want to be here for it. Not how I do things. And the Marauder. Do I have enough paint? I do not have enough paint. Almost. They're not trustworthy, says the man standing next to Chaos J. Baby Chaos over here.
I am Chaos Incarnate. Okay.
Getting people to do things you know. That's what the money is for, is getting people to do things you don't want to do. I don't believe in that. I feel like that's poor management. You should do everything you ask or be able to do anything you ask anybody at your office to do. Now, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to do it better than you. And I'm not talking about just specific job stuff. Obviously, we hire people that can do things that I'm not good at, right? That's what good hiring management is all about. You don't always want to be as a manager, I don't always want to be the best at the thing that needs to get done. But I'm talking about things where you're asking somebody to be in earlier than they normally come in to do a thing they don't normally do. You know, I have to be willing to do that same thing. So I will generally do it. And then if it's an ongoing thing and I can teach somebody else to do it, then we'll make it part of the job. The J-O-B.
The J-O-B.
Jen's like doubly so. Jen like will get down and dirty and like ship packages all day still.
Well, she's also like super duper fast at it too, right?
Yeah, she's way more efficient than I ever was. So, and they usually don't want me over there where it takes things like, they're like, hey, old man, like maybe not today.
Maybe not
I
today.
typically cause more problems than it's worth when I'm over in fulfillment.
There's a lot of really like, I don't know, I find doing stuff like that to be quite relaxing situations.
You hear that, Jen?
I do.
You gotta volunteer.
I do? Yeah. I won't retract that.
Jen's always listening. He's like, that's it, Jordan.
I genuinely like, I like to, it's why I like painting painting all day for a job. Because I can just sit and do a thing that I've done enough at this point that I can just kind of sit and not necessarily autopilot mode it, but there's a lot of steps to the
some people
process.
find that nice calibration in the redundancy. You know, that you get into a groove and you just get stuff done, right? It's redundant work. I am horrible with redundant work, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I can paint 40 mechs in as quick a time as I've done. Or like when, you know, that's why the 2,000 points of Lumineth in a week was such a huge deal for me. I hate redundant work. I hate it. I hate it. It's why I couldn't be a comic book artist, because I couldn't draw the thing and then have to go back and redraw the thing
5,000 times. Yeah.
Can't do it, man. Jen heard your name but missed what was said beforehand. Baby J said he would love to do shipping things.
I enjoy doing shipping related things.
Jordan just volunteered to be manager of shipping things.
So I get like a weird level of like enjoyment out of.
Oh God, what's coming next? This could get bad.
No. Like,
oh God, Chad, what's he about to say?
Like cleaning and like organization.
Oh yeah.
And to me, like hacking is a form of that.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right?
It's arranging things and
yeah. And it makes my ADD brain really like it.
Yep. I can see that.
It gives me something to hyper focus on and just kind of like tune out. Which is why I enjoy doing stuff like that.
I can see that being the case. Like the darkest mech out of the bunch. I feel like I want to brighten him up just a bit, but take the paint that I have left. Not overwhelm this guy too much.
Whoa, Jen, hold on. We're talking about different kinds of packing here. Moving house is not a...
Oh, wait. Is she trying to... Oh, see? I wasn't even thinking that, but that's why she's the boss. She's the smart one. There you go.
Oh, Jen.
There you go. You heard it, chat. Baby J is moving our house.
Did you guys settle on a place?
Ask her. We put an offer in. I don't know if they accepted it.
Jen?
They verbally accepted it last night, but we didn't get confirmation. She was going to check right before stream.
Oh, Jen.
So the answer is perhaps. The answer is perhaps.
Verbal confirmation's good, though.
Look at what Jen's doing, by the way. I'm going to give you some free pointers here. All right? With working with Jen.
Uh-huh.
You notice, what did she say when she first came in? She says, I heard my name, but I didn't hear anything before that. But then she comes in and she says, you said you love packing. We all heard it.
Yeah.
See? She's sly like a fox. Sly like a fox, that one.
Do I need to watch out?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think I need to watch out.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. She's sly, that one. You gotta get careful. Careful. Be very, 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 very careful around that one. He's dastardly.
Dastardly, dastard-like.
Fate Liquor says, witnessed, was there, can prove. Can vouch. Baby J now moving our house. That's very nice of you, by the way. That groan! That was the soul leaving the body right there.
Makes you think the soul was in the body to begin with.
Oh, that's right.
That's just
Chaos Man.
The soul cringing. Soul's in the back pocket, just in case you ever need it. Not a mandatory thing. Clip that. I hope you all enjoy my misery. This is why you don't open your mouth. Shush. Shush now.
You've all told. You've been voluntold.
I've been voluntold.
This is why you
Yikes.
never open your mouth.
All right. Get a quiet Baby J stream today.
Wait a minute. Dower says, to be fair, your misery is why we tune in. Me or him?
Probably.
He hasn't had any misery yet. None.
What do you mean?
He's living his best life right now.
Moving here was a darn bit of misery.
That had nothing to do with me. He's living his best life. I didn't tell you to get that apartment.
You actually did. you actually did. This is the thing you definitely did do. That one is 100% your fault.
He's lying.
We've probably told this story before.
That is a total lie.
But when I came here to visit,
I've never seen this man before in my life.
this man took one look
Somebody call 911. I need help.
at the 3 apartment
I need
complexes
help.
that I was looking at,
Intruder.
and he was like, "Why the heck would you want to move into any of these? There's like a place that's like right down the street that you'd want to go move into. Way better." And that was the only place we ever looked at. Did I remind
To
you?
be fair, I drove all over the place.
We did.
You saw a bunch of places where you said, no, I kind of like the first one. We did take you there first.
Well, we didn't actually get to look at any of the other ones because they were closed. Because we went on Sunday. But, in your defense, we did go to the first one first, where I'm at now. And I was like, well, this is kind of just perfect. And you and Jen both said the same thing. You were like,
I told Jen, I said, hey, I could live here.
you did. You did. You're like, can we just live here?
I was like, we could just live here.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this place at all.
Oh, man.
That's so good.
It's good times.
So good.
That trip was fun. I'm glad I got a chance to come down here. Was fun. Yeah? You doing alright over there? You're making weird sounds.
He said, and now you're trapped. Truer words never spoken.
Yep.
We're going to do the green next. Which means I need this.
I'm also
This.
so close to the office that anytime I try and go to a place that's like more than 5 minutes away,
Further
I'm like,
than around the corner, he's like,
this is so long. It's
Eh.
gonna take me forever.
Isn't it funny how when you live close to where you work, everything else just got further away?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you
it's
spend
really
all
true.
your time here and home.
Yep.
And so everything else is very tough to get to. The house we put an offer on is closer to the office than our current house. I don't remember how much that was. We're going to call that 3 drops. I'm back to measuring scientifically, chat. We're going to say that was 3. Yeah, exactly, right? Try working from home. That's the worst case scenario of that whole thing, right? When you work from home, everything just gets door dashed.
Yeah. You're like, why would I ever leave my apartment?
Yeah, I don't need to go anywhere. People literally bring things to me. Doing Nords, Lion? Nice. Nimriel, what is going on? 22 months. Thank you for that, Prime.
22 months. Oh my goodness.
If it's further than the mailbox, then why do you have to go? Hey, is there like DoorDash for your mail? Could you bring me my mail? Where is it? At the front door.
I don't think so.
At the front door.
Well, huzzah, huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
That would be some high-class laziness right there.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I have gotten some stuff delivered where I've been like, I really should have just gone to the grocery store.
I mean, literally, your grocery store is as close as you can imagine, without being like right across the street.
Mine?
Yeah, 7th Ave.
No.
Yeah, 7th Ave in Osborne.
For
Super
Safeway?
close. Yeah, super close.
Oh, that is close, isn't it?
It's super close.
I've been going to Fry's. It's
Up
much,
on Camelback.
much further away.
7th Ave in Osborne is really close.
Yes, it is.
Like, super close.
Yeah, it's like
Not a mile.
yeah.
Not even a mile. Yeah. Safeway, 7th Ave, Osborne, go.
I definitely forgot that.
That's where I used to shop when I was on 31st Ave and Thomas.
Isn't it down in Thomas? It's not on Osborne.
Osborne. Yep.
7th and Osborne is the Starbucks.
7th Ave, not 7th Street.
Oh.
Other side of Central.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He's learning, chat.
To be fair, you did say 7th.
I said 7th Ave. Chat, did I say Avenue? I didn't say Avenue. I said Ave. I abbreviated it like the cool kids do.
I can't remember if you said 7th Ave or not.
Well, that's
Fair
convenient for you.
Well, my life is pretty convenient.
It is. You're living your best life.
All I heard was 7th. There we go.
You don't listen to me anyway. So who's going to trust you?
When have I ever done
No
something?
Arctic mini painting.
Oh, okay. I was like, what do you mean?
Paint Liquor said Ave. I did. Said Ave.
Well, hold on. We're getting.
Arctic, it can't be trusted because he never listens anyway.
What did Jen hear? That's
Jen heard that you're the pleasant packer and you're moving our house.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all Jen heard. See? Chat knows. Chat knows where their bread is buttered. They know who brings home the bacon for them.
Jen?
Well, that might be the case. That may be the case, actually. That might actually be the case. I feel like I need just a hair more yellow in it, but probably not. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna go with it, man. Just gonna go with it.
Go with it.
I'm just gonna go with it. I don't care. No rules in mini painting.
Well,
okay, maybe there are, but
there's a couple.
I ain't got time for no rules. Put the paint on the model, man.
You say that until you get arrested.
Can you get arrested for miniature painting?
No, but you can get arrested for not following the rules.
Oh. The rules of miniature painting?
The rules of the law?
There's laws about miniature painting?
No, just the generic ones.
Why do those come into play? I'm just painting miniatures.
Turns out you can still do illegal stuff.
While painting miniatures?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like what? What could I
Lots of
possibly do right now that would be against the law? Throw a knife at you?
Yes.
Oh, that's in your contract. You should have read it better.
Definitely not in my contract.
Every now and then, you will have to work with Jason, and every now and then, Jason has been known to randomly throw a knife. Just one. That's why you probably signed the contract, because you were like in your little safe zone, thinking you're like, I can handle one knife.
Yeah. How bad could one possibly be?
How bad could one knife possibly be?
Turns out
it did not give details on size of knife. Hence, read the contract.
Could be bad.
Be like Crocodile Dundee over here. That's not a knife.
What's up, Gosu? Welcome to our ridiculous stream today.
Is there a day when it's not ridiculous?
There are some that are more ridiculous than others.
More ridiculous than others? Is this one of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
Is it my fault?
I would say it's our fault.
Okay. Good. So long as we can spread the love.
Yeah.
I'm still worried about this getting arrested thing. I don't want to get
Well,
arrested while painting.
Well, then don't do anything untoward.
That's very hard for me. You said unlawful. Now it's untoward?
Yeah.
Untoward spreads a lot further than unlawful, I feel like.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
Like randomly offering people bananas that don't exist would be untoward.
I don't know about that. That sounds.
And after yesterday, I was convinced this might be a thing I would like to do this weekend. But now, I'm worried.
No, you'll be fine.
Okay. Chat, should I trust this guy? I feel like maybe trusting Baby J is not the right plan of action.
You hired me. Seems like I'm trustworthy.
Don't let the law tell you how to live your life. Bastages. They didn't mean that for me.
The law?
Yeah.
Pretty sure they meant it for everybody.
No. If you read it, it actually says it excludes Jason Crazes.
I think you misread that as Jason Crazies.
Either way. It was in like some coded language. That's why you don't.
Coded language.
That's why nobody
somewhere.
knows. But I have the decoder ring.
Yeah.
I can prove
You
these
fish
things.
it out of your Lucky Charms this
I can
morning?
prove these things. The Lucky Charms decoder ring would be so rad. Like, this is the get out of jail free decoder ring from Lucky Charms. I'm surprised that Cracker Jack doesn't give you real toys anymore, those bastages.
I'm pretty sure the whole no toys and cereal thing is a safety thing that they came up with.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
kids aren't
blah,
choking
blah,
on cereal
blah.
toys.
Same reason we don't have lawn darts. Everybody knows better. Way to save the children is to take away the fun things.
Or just the things that can kill them.
Everything can kill you. Everything.
True.
Literally, you know what the number one cause of death is?
Eating sushi?
Huh?
Eating sushi?
Life. Argue that one. Number one cause of death is life. You risk your life every day just by waking up. So don't take away my lawn darts. That's what I'm saying. I think they tried to make lawn darts plastic for a while, didn't they?
I don't even know what these are.
What? Oh, yeah, I guess you're at that age where it was probably they just stole the amazing things of life before you were able to taste them. Lawn darts were these amazingly deadly, metal-pointed... You know what a dart is?
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like a dart that you play darts with. Oh, it's the same reason why you can't go and play real darts anywhere anymore. They don't have, like, horsehair dartboards anymore. They have, like, the electronic, throw the plastic dart and stick it in the hole thing.
Oh, really?
Right? I mean, you can find horsehair dartboards. You can still buy them. They're not illegal or anything. But a lot of places decided that, for insurance, like Dave & Buster's doesn't have real darts anymore. You get the plastic ones. But I grew up with my family playing
with the
darts.
plastic tips.
So
Yeah.
it's darts, like metal tips and custom flights and custom weighted bodies and heads and things. And so you build your own dart set.
Turns out it was a sport.
Yeah, it is a sport. It's a great one. Play 21. And so you think about that, but at a scale that could
Like
seriously injure you.
somebody. Yeah.
Talk about a big sand-weighted... It's like a grenade.
Oh my god.
It looks like a mortar shell with a hornet's sting on the end of it. It's so good. And you would take them and grab them by the flight, and you would swing back like horseshoes, and you would throw it, and it was just like horseshoes, except you put on the ground, you would put bullseyes on the ground.
Oh, and because it was weighted on the front end, you'd throw it up in the air, and then it would go
point.
boing.
Yeah. Except somewhere along the line, we didn't know where the targets were, so we threw them at each other. Yeah.
No wonder those got banned real fast.
Oh, they were around forever. I think Tipper Gore did it. I'm going to blame Tipper Gore. Big Bob says, I trust slow as much as I trust child safety departments in the 80s. Wait a minute. I don't get the reference. I'm very trustworthy. So, child safety places must have been very trustworthy, too. I love how everybody thinks they did such a great job of protecting children by getting rid of things like lawn darts. It's like,
I mean...
And making sure that, like, the missiles don't actually shoot out of the robot hands anymore.
Realistically, they should have kept lawn darts around to make sure that kids learned why not to be dumb.
See? Natural selection. We have eradicated it.
Like...
Everybody should be allowed to stick their fingers in a socket once. After that, that's on you.
Yep.
After that, that's all on you.
You want to keep going, and you want to keep on sticking your fingers where they don't belong.
That's like the old like hand on the burner, right? I can't remember like the
Oh.
Junior Chefs of America
did
thing
that
that I
on
did, and I
accident.
burned the absolute crap out of myself during
Oh
that
my
whole
gosh.
competition.
When I was a baby, I did that on the old style coil
Electric
stovetops.
ones, yeah, right?
Yeah, I like full on just like put both of my hands down on it.
Woo!
Yeah.
You learn quick, don't you?
Oh, it was bad. I'm I'm remembering now. My parents
Laughed at you?
no, they didn't do a great job of stopping me from getting into trouble like that.
Humans are smart creatures, man. We used to be, at least.
I put my hands on the burners, figured that one out.
Those are the things you should have to learn.
Oh,
I mean, I can tell you, hey, don't touch the hot thing. But you know how kids are.
I
They're like,
twisted around.
mom doesn't really know anything.
I twisted around when my mom was cutting my hair.
Oh,
She cut part of my ear off.
part of your ear off?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
look like you have whole ears.
No, there's like a little chunk. It's this side. So
There is a chunk out of this man's ear.
yeah, there's like right.
There
here.
is a chunk
There's
out
a
of the
little
ear
chunk
where.
right there.
Yep, there
Yeah.
is. How funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yep.
like my grandma knocking my tooth out.
My mom never cut my hair again. In fact, it worked out for me in the end because when I was in middle school, I had my hair grown out really long.
Uh-huh.
My mom hated it. She absolutely hated it, despised it, Chad.
Sure.
So much so that she offered to pay me $150
Go get your hair cut?
to get my hair cut. Of
Did you do it?
course I did. It was in middle school.
It's $150.
Yeah. Bear in mind, this is from like a family where I didn't get like video consoles for birthdays or Christmases growing up. Like,
Yeah, did I? I had to work for that
we
stuff.
weren't that well off. So when my mom tells me that she's willing to pay me $150 to get my hair cut, she's
Wow.
business.
That tells you a lot. That's
Yeah.
like she was dead serious.
She was dead serious.
She's like, we are not playing.
Yeah.
This is not a joke.
So she paid for me to get my hair cut, and I got my hair cut. And I got $150. So, thanks, Mom.
Thanks for cutting my ear off.
Yeah.
Told the story about my grandmother punching me. That's what get her to quit drinking. Knocked my tooth out.
What's a tooth or an ear between
She was
between parent and
so
child?
she was so bummed out, right? I mean, she just
absolutely.
punched her grandson in the face and knocked his tooth out. And the only thing I could think about was that the tooth fairy was not going to come visit
Because you swallowed your
because I
tooth?
swallowed my tooth. I've told that on stream before, chat. My grandmother and I were sitting around watching TV eating fried chicken one night. I was maybe 5, 6, I don't know, super young. But remember it like it was yesterday. And we were watching Howard Cosell and Monday Night Sports or whatever it was. Wide World. No, it wasn't Wide World of Sports. It was like Monday Night Sports or whatever he used to do. And I remember Howard Cosell, and it was boxing. And my grandmother looks at me and says, "You going to be a boxer when you grow up?" And she puts her dukes up. And she takes a little faux punch at me, but didn't know how to pull a punch because she's my grandmother. And smacks me right in the face and knocks one of my front teeth out. Boop! And I swallow it. And the only thing that bummed me out was that the tooth fairy wasn't going to give me money because I didn't have a tooth. I didn't have proof.
Did the tooth fairy give you money anyways?
I was excited about that 50 cents, man. Oh, yeah, I think the tooth fairy gave me like $5 that time around.
Yeah.
I got more money than I've got for like all the rest of my tooths all put together that night because she felt so bad. But it became, a great story over time, so it don't matter much. My grandmother was awesome.
Worked out for her in the long run.
Oh, and she quit drinking.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. She stopped drinking alcohol after that. Because she would always have a gin and tonic.
What is it with grandmothers and gin and tonic? My grandmother does the same thing.
Yeah, no idea. No idea.
Is it just like a popular drink at that era?
Must be, yeah, must be. With inflation, those teeth are worth a mint now. I don't think that's how that works, but I don't think that's how that works. I don't think the price of the tooth fairy goes up with inflation. I mean, I guess it does, right? Cost of living. You know, you're
I bet you I got more for my teeth growing up than you did.
Yeah, you probably did, right?
Yeah.
I got coins.
I think I got dollars.
Guess
I mean,
it's
not
all
many.
cost of living, so I take that back. You know, that 3-year-old diapers ain't gonna buy themselves, kid. Make sure you get as much as you can from the tooth fairy. Spoiler alert, there is no tooth fairy.
Yeah. Just in case you're still, put your...
Spoiler alert, it's one of your family members.
Hate to break it to you.
This just became like the worst episode of Monument Hobbies ever. We're gonna have people unfollowing. You are dastardly, horrible human.
How dare you tell me that
The jury's still out on Santa, though. Might actually be a Santa.
Well, if the movies tell us anything, parents don't know that he exists either. So, my parents telling me that he does or doesn't exist doesn't mean anything.
That's the thing, right? I don't know if you can trust it. The greatest trick Santa ever pulled. Convincing the world he didn't exist.
Tony boy, thank you for the 4 months.
Warren Buffett would have flipped that 50 cents to $3 million. Well, that's why I'm painting miniatures, and Warren Buffett's doing what Warren Buffett does. When is Monument Santa coming back? I don't know. We could probably do something fun this year.
Santa?
Yeah, we did a commercial contest thing that was really fun, Letters to Santa. We might do Letters to Santa again this year if everybody liked it. It was a really big hit. Jen and I did a really quick video with me dressed up as Santa, doing some funky, irreverent stuff like we do.
Throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
And asking everybody to send in their Santa letters, and the funniest one would get a really cool thing. And it was great. The guy that won wrote an incredible, funny Santa letter, and asked for nothing other than for us to donate to a charity we believed in, something local here to Phoenix, and was just great. So, big, good thing that we did, or that he did, technically. We donated it to a local charity that assists the homeless.
Yes.
Here in the local Valley area. Big check is like $1,000, $1,500. I don't remember.
Just a good check.
Because we just took the value of all the products that we were going to send, because you were going to get like one of every paint and everything. But he already had all of our stuff, so wound up being a real good deal. Had a lot of fun. But it was also a funny commercial. And I got to dress up like Santa. I wish we had behind the scenes of filming that, because it was literally done with me standing in front of the green screen, because we green screened in like, you know, a hearth fireplace. It was at the old building, and the old building was not conducive for neat environments to film. And it was me in front of the green screen, the camera tilted just right so that Jen could be sitting on the floor in front of me, handing me things as I would hold them up and then throw them in the garbage. So she would like hand up a bottle of paint. She'd hand up, something else because I'd talk about a particular thing. She'd hand me like a bucket of glitter and I'd throw glitter in the air. It was always like I had all these magic trick things at my disposal. I wish we had the foresight back then to do like BTS shots of filming the commercials. That would be really funny.
But now we can. We have the technology.
We have Christopher. We have a Chris.
We have a Chris.
Chris knows all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. How's it going,
And Tony
Mo?
Boy, thank you so much for the 4 months. And the Twitch Prime.
Oh, Christmas sushi in chat.
What?
With the waves.
He always is like, why are you talking about me?
Because we like talking about you.
Like, why are you talking about me? What'd I do?
You know what you did. You know what you did.
Chris Masushi may be the most important employee for Monument Hobbies that doesn't actually work here. I can't convince him to come work for us, chat. He refuses my advances. The reality is we can't afford him. He's expensive. He's a very valuable human being. Has a high price tag. Need to start a GoFundMe. We want to own a human.
This human goes by the name of Christmas sushi. We feel like we're entitled to Christmas sushi.
He was in chat, and I had no idea that was him. I was like, Christmas Sushi, what a great name. And I was like, wait, that's his name.
Yeah, that is just his name.
I don't think that GoFundMe would work. We'd have to word it differently.
The sushi Christmas fund me.
We already own a Baby J. We don't own him. He leaves. He does his own thing. We're learning with every new hire. We need to change our contract.
Well, hold on. You got plenty of edits in our contract. Okay?
Oh, that's true. We keep editing it without telling you. You're not supposed to know about those.
Oh, I know.
What? Are you coming to my office? Looking in the file cabinet?
No. But I know. I'm aware.
Kind of more scary.
My knowledge is vast.
That might be even more scary. Christmas Sushi says, that's me! It's a me, Luigi!
Are you Luigi, Chris? I'm very excited about my up-and-coming new project. The good old Seraphon.
I'm very excited to figure out a way to actually do a GoFundMe where we get Chris out of it.
I don't think that's possible.
I think with creative spin doctoring, we can make this happen.
Well, here's what you do. You ask Chris what his price is. Chris, what's your price? And then you put out a GoFundMe for whatever that number is.
Because I have so many comments.
Well, feel free to come down and share with the class.
Chris knows how to come to the studio.
He was here moments ago.
Chris, we're going to do a GoFundMe. We're going to find a way to spin this to where tell me it's indentured servitude without saying indentured servitude. We need money to buy indefinite amounts of pizza and drinks for Christmas sushi. So that we can have him be part of the Monument family Forever. You have to say it like that.
Forever.
Forever. Like one of those weird, like, Stepford Wives type things. Everybody loves it here so much they never want to leave.
Disturbing.
It is kind of disturbing, right? I think I just even found myself disturbing.
This is a little bit, yeah.
Chris says, I'll film the GoFundMe video. He goes, but that's where it stops. He says, if you put a shower in the office, I'm game. We thought about putting a shower
That's all it takes.
In the big bathroom, right? The middle bathroom there.
I unironically think I have never been to that bathroom. My entire month and a half being here.
Really?
Yeah. Because I'm always on this side of the building. It's just faster to go to this one.
That's the, what do people call it?
The executive bathroom?
It's kind of, no. It's like it's the poop bathroom. It's the one, because it has like the big vortex of doom toilet. It flushes like it has a vengeance, like it hates the world. You gotta stand back when you flush that toilet. Because I think it's sending stuff to like Botswana.
Botswana?
It can't just be putting it into the local sewage system. I love the new Centurion look. He's very bulky. His torsos are really wide, so in the game, in the video game, he's not so great because he just blows torsos. I mean, you only lose the AC-10. He is a good stick mech. That toilet will take your child if you aren't careful. Exactly, man. It is serious. Even Jen says it's the poop bathroom. It really is. But like we're saying, mainly because it has the vortex flusher of doom.
I gotta try this.
Uh-oh. Going for it, chat. We're going to have a new section of the show where it's Toilet Talk with Jordan. It's going to be life-changing.
Yeah,
it's such a big room, too. It's got room for activities.
Is it really that big?
Oh, it's huge, dude. It's where we store all of the paper goods for the whole building. Is in that bathroom. It has a changing table. So if you ever, I don't know, discover you have a long-lost, very young child, so it can't be that long-lost.
Yeah, no.
And you need to utilize it it has a changing thing on the wall.
Hope that never happens.
But like literally all the toilet paper and paper towels for the whole building are in that bathroom. It just keeps going and going. And what's really cool is if you go in there in the morning, it's right next to the compressor bay for the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in there doing your business, they kick the compressors on, you think the world's ending.
That's so funny. It's super loud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the wall starts rumbling.
Oh, my gosh.
Right next to you. It's pretty crazy. You much prefer the new Catalyst sculpt of the Centurion? I don't know that I've seen a Centurion from Catalyst, have I? What box is it in? I like the MWO one. I think that's the much better one. But I do... like, lights start flickering and alarms go off. It's not that heavy duty, but it's pretty heavy duty. It's not total into the world type stuff. What do you do with this guy? He's got another one of these silly helmets. We paint his whole helmet, or I think we just do the stripe. Mr. Whitworth. Mr. Whitworth. It sounds like the guy that owns like the town hardware store. Just run down to Whitworth's there, son. Pick up a hammer. Some gloves. And duct tape. Instant Dateline episode. I feel like in today's kind of social state, maybe state's not the right word, Like, wouldn't it be good to, like, always travel with an Ace Hardware receipt in your pocket for, like, all the Dateline goodies? Duct tape, ball peen hammer, wading boots, plastic gloves, plastic sheeting, right?
Turning into Dexter one
Maybe
step
some
at a
rope,
time.
like a weird length of rope,
Yeah.
8.6 feet of rope.
Oh my god. Should I be worried, Jason? I feel like I should be worried right now.
It's in the Inner Sphere Heavy Lance? I thought I had the Heavy Lance. What else is in that one? I don't have a Centurion from them. I only have the 3D printed one. Inner Sphere Heavy Lance. What else comes in the box? This may be one of the boxes that, because Jordan was saying, is there anything you don't have? And I was like, yeah, there's some Inner Sphere stuff I didn't buy. For some reason. Banshee, Grasshopper, Centurion, and Hatchet Man. See, I have all of those, but I don't have a Centurion. I have bought that. Are you sure it's that pack? Did they change that pack someplace? I have all of those mechs, and I did not buy any of them individual. Right? I has Grasshopper. Oh. I don't have a Hatchet Man. Oh, maybe I do. I have an Axe Man. But I have a Banshee. How did you lose a 50-ton mech? It's easier than it seems. Don't yell at me. Not my fault. Jen was talking to me. The dog was barking. There was a lot going on. How am I supposed to just follow all that stuff?
Sounds like an excuse to me.
It is, but it's a pretty good one if you listen. I'm actually doing pretty good here. Don't blow my cover.
I would beg to differ.
No? They're not buying it?
No.
I feel like they're buying it. I feel like they'd buy it better if you wouldn't sit over here and blow me up. Why blow me up? Thought you were my wingman. I thought you were my hobby wingman.
You are taking it too far, sir.
I thought you were my hobby wingman. Left the keys in the ignition.
you can be my wingman anytime.
I may not have a Hatchet Man. I think I have an Axe Man. So is there another box that comes with a Grasshopper? Like maybe one of the mercenary boxes comes with some of those? Because I have a Banshee and I have a Grasshopper, and I have not bought those as individual mechs. The only mech I bought individually was an Archer. And what else did I buy individually?
Thank you for the follow, Alpha.
I bought a couple individuals.
Couple?
But
More than
that was at the back of the very beginning. I bought the Archer because it came as it was in one of the mechs that came out in the salvage boxes. I think it was the only place you could get it. It didn't come in a set yet. And then they released it in a set, but I bought it individually. I can't think of much else that I bought into. I bought the Jumping Crusader individually, I think. Alpha Male, what's going on? Yes, we have been streaming live for over 7 years now. Isn't that crazy? That's nuts. 7 years. The entire business started from this little stream, believe it or not. Monument Hobbies came from the original Slow Fuse Gaming live stream that started as a video game stream back in 2012-ish.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, very far back in the day. And then, we swapped over to miniature painting in late 2015, 2016, something like that. 2015?
What prompted that?
What prompted it? I was sick of playing the PvP games I had been playing. I was getting really bummed out with all the matchmaking. The the lifespan of those games was coming to an end. And whereas you wouldn't normally care as just a gamer, you go find another game, as a streamer, it really hurt because it was like, this is what people know me for. And when the game that everybody tuned in to watch me play became not fun, it really bummed me out. And it was really great. And looking back, I got a message in chat from one of my longtime viewers one day that said, hey, I just want to say this because you've been such a big part of my daily life for so long. I mean, he'd been in the stream for years. And he said, but lately it just, I can tell you've lost all of your spark. It's not fun. The vibe has changed. The people you're attracting are different because of the vibe changing. He goes, I understand you're upset. He goes, I hope you find something you really enjoy, but I won't be around to watch anymore. It was a very poignant message that I got. A very eye-opening and poignant message from what I would consider to be a very dear internet friend. Because anybody that takes the time to do that when they've never met you face-to-face is huge.
That's huge.
And it was an eye-opener that I needed. It was that smack across the face that I really needed at the time. Because I was making bad choices. I wasn't being pleasant during the games, and my streams have always been about having fun and being inviting and, enjoying the space with the people that come to share it with you.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. And he was he just said it. He wasn't, didn't do it negatively, I don't feel like. I feel like it was very poignant, to the point, but said out of affection. Like, hey, I really miss the guy I grew to know over these years. I hope you find him again.
Yeah.
And that's the way it did, and it made me sit back. And Jen knew it. Jen was like every night, because I streamed the late hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I streamed 8 hours a day, treated it like a job. And she would hear me yelling, and cussing. And so she was always like, why do you do this if you don't like it? And I was like, I do like it, though. But I didn't, right? So anyway, my mom had her knees replaced. This is a good story, right? And some of you probably know this. Some of you have been around with us for like over 6 years.
I haven't heard this story.
But my mom got both of her knees replaced around that same time. And so I was at a point where I was like, hey, Mom, I'm going to come live with you for a month. I'll help you. I'll drive you to your rehab, rehabilitation, whatever it is.
Physical therapy,
not rehab. Sorry, Mom.
I mean, it is rehabilitation.
Sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to out you live on stream. But I would take her to her PT and doctor's appointments and things like that because she couldn't drive. She had both her knees replaced, and that's a serious surgery, right? And as you get older, it's even more serious. They usually do one at a time, but she was like, I don't want to go under anesthesia twice. Just get it done.
Just get it done.
Yeah. My mom's very funny. She's like, if I'm going out big. And so she just did it. She did both knees. So I flew up there and hung out with her for a month and helped and cooked and did all the stuff around the house with my sister. And during that time, I brought miniatures, bought some more while I was there. Brought primer and paint, was doing that, and one of the nights I was sitting there painting miniatures at the dining room table, I had my computer there so that I could play MechWarrior Online and the games that I'd always played anyway, but I knew I couldn't stream. But I went on Twitch and watched a stream and was looking. I was like, I wonder if anybody paints, because I just had that idea. I was like, I could do this on my Twitch stream.
Yeah.
I said, I'll lose all my followers. Probably none of them care, but a few might. And it might be something that I enjoy. And I remembered that message, and I was like, let's do something just because we like it again. Yeah. And I found about a handful, like 3 or 4 people that stream miniature painting at the time. Uh-huh. And I contacted them and said, hey, would you be willing to do, follow for follow? Back then you didn't have raids, you just had hosts. Yeah. But host for host, I'll host you and all this kind of stuff. And they were all very welcoming and helpful at the time. And so I did. I jumped into it, and we started streaming. And here we are, all these years later, with our own line of paints and products, and a wide family of internet friends that's bigger than I could have ever imagined. Yep. Thank you. So that's our story. So there you go. All for Alpha Male. You didn't know you were going to get the whole thing.
You got the whole enchilada.
The whole thing. Alpha. I'm currently, we're in, we do over on our Discord, ! Discord and chat. We have over 2,000 wonderful artists, and we do these challenges every month. I started mine way before it, but in May, the challenge is Mecha May, and so it's painting something that is solidly metal, like the whole model is metal, like a Dread or a mech or something like that, something robotic, or a vehicle even, without using any metallic paints. It doesn't mean you have to go full-bore non-metallic metal. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we need you to present us with a thing that would be metal, but paint it without any metallic paints anywhere on it. And so I have like this whole freaking battalion that I have painted over the last 2 weeks of what is now 40 plus mechs. It's ridiculous.
So many.
Yeah, it's literally ridiculous. It's 36 plus 6. It's 42 mechs that I painted. Actually, no, it's 43. 43 mechs that I painted over the last 2 weeks. So, and Jordan over there is doing some of his Sons of Horus stuff. We just got done doing a big thing where we were painting the Horuses. They're out in the photo booth getting from all the photo work. But we do all sorts of stuff. Large miniatures, small stuff.
Yep.
Anything and everything you can imagine with every technique possible. So feel free to ask questions if you're new here and just hanging out, lurking, just discovering us. We also are Monument Hobbies, obviously. Ta-da, Monument.
Ta-da, Monument.
We make the Pro Acryl paints right here in our factory in Arizona where we're broadcasting from. And we slap it on stuff to show you how to use paints.
Yep.
But we don't care what paints or what brushes or anything you use. You're welcome here, and you can always ask questions about techniques and things that might be keeping you from feeling confident about your painting journey. That's really what the stream is about. So we just like to have fun, tell fart jokes, and hopefully pass on some good painting info to you.
Good old fart jokes. Toot toot jokes.
Toot toot jokes.
Toot toot. Wait, is that what that sign is? Yeah, Punisher. M-O-N-U-M-E-N-T. Monument.
He may have his phone turned backwards, and then it's Tnimunam. If you rotate your phone around, you'll tell. You'll be able to see it better.
Tnemnuon. Nom.
Did that person that sent you the message ever find their way back here? That's a great question, Wad. I feel like yes. In the first couple of years that we started streaming, they came back in a stream and said they were very happy to see what we were doing and that we had changed and all that, but they were not a painter, didn't care about the hobby, and are not here today. So. Alpha Male down in Tucson. Yeah, we're Phoenix locals here. Well, not local. I'm not born and raised here. I don't know that. Oh, yeah, Jacob is.
Yeah. Jacob, the local lad. Laddie.
I wonder if Brennan is. Brennan may be, too.
Is Christian not?
No, Christian's from Pennsylvania.
And Philip and Shelby and all those?
Phil may be. Yeah, I think Phil is local, as is Shelby and Gabe. Yeah. Christmas Sushi, I don't think it. Chris, you still out there, Sushi Boy? I don't know if his whole clan is or not. I am not from here.
I most certainly am not.
I was telling Christian this morning, I was like, I was only planning on being in Arizona for a year. And that has turned into, well, I guess we're staying.
Years. Yeah, many years, a couple of homes.
I guess we're staying now.
It's a good place to be, though. I like it so far.
I really like it here. Obviously, I found a Jen.
Yep. Jen helps a lot.
So,
shout out to Jen.
Shout out to Jen. He's earning brownie points over here, Jen.
Jen's cool. I enjoy the company of Jentastic.
Boy, he's going hard. He's going deep, chat.
Look, she runs the company, all right?
Sushi was born in California. Alpha Male, you ready? We're working on a satin line? Yep. We got all sorts of stuff. We're working on fluorescence. We've got some satin colors. It's not a satin line, but we have some colors that are satin that we are working on right now. We hope to release those at some point this year. We are, let's see.
We got some mysterious concoctions of chemicals.
Yeah, we've got a, you won't believe it's not oil wash base coming out.
I really want to try that one of these days. Do we still have that?
Working on, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to try that.
We have a lot in the hopper. It's just a matter of figuring out when we can get it all released. We don't like to, do everything at once, obviously. But we will be releasing quite a bit before the end of the year.
Gonna be awesome.
Stay tuned. Cool stuff ahead.
Gonna be a real fun year.
We've got a minimum, I would say, of 2 more signature sets coming out this year, which will be a lot of fun.
Have we shown the can't believe it's not oil wash on stream?
Yes. Yep, I've shown it in 2 of its iterations, as a matter of fact. One of them on that Mad Cat 2 that you got over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the brown on its legs is done with that. Yeah, it's for those of you who have not seen it, it is a subtractive weathering wash like an oil, but it is completely water-based acrylics. So, big game changer, that one.
I'm excited to get my hands on some of that.
Yeah, because while oil washes are really fun, I don't like recommending them very often because of the fact that they need solvents to clean. And they're so different to work with in a lot of cases.
They can just be intimidating to work with too, for newer people.
Yeah, my dad painted with all oils when he was doing figures, porcelain cowboy figures when I was growing up. And, you know, I learned to paint miniatures with enamels and oils. There weren't acrylics. I mean, there were acrylics, obviously, but they're all more like craft store paints or artist acrylics in paste form. There weren't liquid acrylics readily available for me until I started being able to get the Tamiya liquid acrylics over here much later, because that, you know, that hobby really grew out of the overseas scale modeling, and those products were just not available, you know, in the time before the internet, before the global market,
For time immemorial.
was tougher to get cool stuff like we have today. So yeah, I learned to do all of that with oils and enamels and things in there, while not being, you know, horrible by any means. Acrylics are the most consistent painting platform that you can use when painting 3-dimensional objects. They just give you better control, better dry time, better consistency. Doesn't mean you can't use the other things. Now, the opposite is true. If I'm painting canvas, I prefer painting with oil. I only use acrylic on canvas if I'm in a hurry. Not that I painted a canvas in a dozen years.
I'd love to do a canvas painting again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you know, there was a time where we thought about trying to set up the stream to do it, but it's just very hard with the way the cameras are necessary to be used. But maybe when we get the rest of the studio set up for like the podcast and the gaming stuff, then
We can find a way to do it.
yeah, because there'll be some that's angled for us sitting, so we could do a more canvas-oriented painting area. Perhaps. Writing what you wanted on paper, writing a check, putting both in the mail, and then just trusting that eventually the thing you wanted gets mailed back to you. Yeah, I know, right? It's nuts. Mail order was sketchy at best, right?
So weird that stuff like that exists. How did people trust enough for that? This is a different time.
Well, yeah, you're laying over the world today into yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts about trustworthiness today wouldn't float for mail order very often. I mean, we kind of do it. We still do eBay. eBay is just glorified mail order.
There are like checks and balances though, and you have the
there's
security of PayPal.
There's a whole company behind it that guarantees you get your stuff. So yeah, so that is very different, I guess. Because technically, it's all just glorified mail order, but Marauder.
Metal dry brush. You just dry brushed with the neutral gray, right?
Bright neutral gray.
You dry brushed
bright neutral gray.
Like dark.
Wash it, then go back and line bright neutral gray.
It's interesting because it looks like you used neutral gray in here.
I did. I do dark neutral gray, then I do neutral gray to block in all the panels, then I dry brush with bright neutral gray, then I wash with flesh wash, and then I line all with bright neutral gray just at the sharp edges.
Okay, so dark neutral.
Almost cover all the dark neutral up with neutral gray as you block in the panels where the light would hit, and only you leave the dark neutral gray in the spots that you don't get any light to at all.
That makes way
Then you
more
dry
sense.
brush it, then you wash it, then you go back and I mean you could technically go back and dry brush again like I'm doing here, but on those I wanted a little bit more detail.
You wanted to look nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Fantastic.
Sorry, I didn't really line that all.
No. That makes way more sense because I'm like, there's definitely a lot of neutral gray in this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is much brighter than.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically what I'll do is I lay down a base coat, and it's funny as you think about in painting, and I'll put up what we're talking about here, right? Because it's the same as this Contemptor.
Yeah.
Right? Is that when I want to paint something like the metal on this Contemptor Dread, I want to make sure that I still get good depth of shadow, and I don't like using washes as shades purely.
Yeah.
I like to use them to get some spot shading. But typically when you see me using washes, I'm using it to do things like panel lining or, to give it a filter to change the color of the thing. And you get a byproduct of shading there, but I've already built shading onto it that amplifies that and gives me the kind of contrast that's visually appealing at the end. So on this, what we're talking about is I painted it with a very dark gray first, our dark neutral gray, which you don't see much of here. What you're seeing is neutral gray. The neutral gray is the main color that's showing through here. Because I'll go back in and almost paint everything with a brush with neutral gray, leaving the dark neutral gray just in the shadows, up underneath all these panels, in between the panel lines, anywhere where I know I want to have that contrast show, right? And so then I'll go back over that, dry brush that, then wash it after I've done the dry brush. I put the wash of the flesh wash on there so it catches all of this rusty look in the recesses. It also puts a kind of orangish... Although on this, remember, I didn't wash the whole thing. I didn't take the flesh wash and goop it on.
No, you hit the recesses.
I just went and hit the recesses specifically because I didn't want it to look like covered with rust. And then after that, then I go back in and do the specific like edge highlighting with the bright neutral gray to box everything back in.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very fast way to get a really, really good, metal look that is worn in that kind of military, beat up sense. So easy to do and great results. Same with the gun and everything. I kind of replicated it everywhere. Just because you get a much better look quicker. And that was what we were going for on the Dark Angels was, painting 7,500 points of Dark Angels. Again, it gets tedious for me.
Yeah, and I have a lot of Sons of Horus to paint.
Yeah.
So.
You're missing the Zambies set. Keep punching on us. You've been wanting some fluoro colors? Alpha male? Nice. Yeah, I think the fluoro set is aiming for 6 colors. That's really stretching it, too, because there's really only 5 colors that you can get really good fluorescence out of, and then blue. And blue's tough, but we're going to do blue. So everything's edible if you try hard enough. You've got the Vinny V and the Ninja on set so far, and you felt like they were satin finish. What would they be called then? A couple of those are, Jess, but we didn't announce those as being satin. The next ones that will start the label change to where you'll pick a color up and it will actually be called satin. Because of the single pigment magenta that's in the signature sets, it's a little more satin. The royal purple can be a little bit more satin because, again, it has a high level of magenta in it. I'm trying to think. Most of those are still matte, though. I think that's the only two, technically. So they're all still very, very matte finish. But magenta is definitely more of a satin finish. And that's just native to that pigment. And we didn't want to kill it with a bunch of matting agent because then it doesn't alter the color, but it kind of does, right? When you flat something out, it looks so good when it's satin. But we'll be coming out with a satin black and a satin white, some things that are very useful for particular painting techniques. A lot of the European crowd uses satins in that way. It's not our plan to redo the whole line in satin, so don't get crazy. Chewy paints. No, don't eat the paint. Yeah, Tim says it too, the dark magenta. You get anxious now if you don't have a tracking number? Yeah, exactly. Well, Automaton podcast. Yeah, we want to set up a podcast area here where we can do something like that. I don't know that it will be a Monument Direct branded podcast. We have to be careful with that. But we want to have the ability in the studio to do like sit and talks and things like that, so. You even have video proof, Drewski, that she did not pester. No, I know. I've talked with her about it. Just Grumpy says, sorry, what was the dry brush color after the dark neutral gray and neutral gray? Bright neutral gray. Yep, bright neutral gray. And I add in like some dark warm gray in there from time to time, but it's just up to you. If you want to keep it in the neutral grays, fine. Depends on how dirty you want it to be. You can go from dark neutral gray to warm gray or dark warm gray in place of neutral gray, and then bright neutral gray. Alpha male, yeah, a few satins, there's good places to use them, especially when doing things like non-metallic metal, like what Jordan's doing right now. Having that last bit of brightness that you put on there, whether it's like a bright ivory or a white, you know, a little poke, bringing a little bit of satin in there gives it a natural shine on those edges that plays with the light in the room in a positive way, as opposed to having the whole thing be satin, which overdoes, you know, what you've created with your differentiating of color and value for the non-metallic metal. Fireside chats, yeah, stuff like that, right? Is warm gray kind of a brownish tint? It's kind of a greenish, but yes. It's a yellow, I call it green. It's not really green. But to give you an idea, here's dark warm and warm versus dark neutral and neutral.
You think of it as a warm and a cool gray, right?
No, it's not a cool gray. These are neutrals.
Well, by comparison.
So these don't have any bluishness to them, which would be a cool. But the warms, you can see how value to value, you get a little bit more dirty coloring to it. So yeah, kind of like a brownish gray at the end of the day. And you use them specifically for that when you want it to be something that is still gray, but a little dirtier looking. Right? They're fantastic for that, as opposed to when you want just gray. And you're going to tone the gray and filter it however you want by adding blues or yellows or whatever you like. This is the neutrals. We have a good wide range of grays that are great for just about anything you want to do. Nathan Pierce, what's going on?
How many little spikes on?
Damn heretics and their spiky bits.
Dang heretics. They're cool robots. Robot.
Not a robot.
Yeah.
It's technically a battle suit.
That's technically true.
He just can't take it off. I mean, technically, they also take it off, but they're always in their sarcophagus. They lower the sarcophagus into the dreadnought frame. and then they go hang the sarcophagus up in the life tube section of the ship until they're needed again.
Wake them up.
Yeah, it's weird. Some of, when you read in some of the books, they talk about dreadnoughts being in their battle armor all the time. Like they're, having bad dreams, and they talk about how their, power fist starts glowing in the hangar because they're having bad dreams or whatever, right? Nightmarish things going on. But I think that the prevailing thought is that the sarcophagus is what's taken and put in the place of reverie, and then the suit is put into more of like a closet, just in storage. Then they bring the suit out. They outfit and load all the weapons in the suit for what they need them for. And shove the sarcophagus in it, which I like a lot better.
From a story perspective?
Yeah, just from a narrative perspective, I like that a lot better. But I do like the fact that some of the dreadnoughts only get pulled out every so often because they're literally nuts.
They going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over there?
Yeah, right? Because they're just in their own heads the whole time. It seems like you just leave them awake. I don't know that I've ever read a good reason for why they have to turn them off. I think it's because the disconnect from their bodies from the word go causes them to start losing their minds. Not like full-on psychosis, but they just can't be trusted necessarily.
Yeah.
But then some of them are like chapter ancients that are like almost like chapter masters, right? They're always consulted for things having to do with the chapter because they are like literally the oldest surviving members of the Space Marines at that point. So it's neat and odd at the same time how different writers will use them in their narrative. This is Battletech mine. His is Horus Heresy. Filthy heretic over there.
Robots. Battle suits. You like them all here. Nice and tasty.
We like them mostly, unless they're Tau.
What's wrong with Tau?
I don't have the same problem with Tau as the internet generally has, but I don't think that aesthetic works for the setting.
The Tau aesthetic?
Yeah, I think it's like, wow, we were trying to appeal to Gundam, so we made this.
And it's a poor ripoff of Gundam
It's
style.
a poor ripoff of the Gundam style. There are some neat things for Tau, don't get me wrong. And if you love Tau, I'm not trying to poop on your parade. Don't get me wrong. But visually, I think there's some things in Warhammer that don't fit the aesthetic very well. And I think Tau is one of them. I think that if the Tau with this upstart race, high-tech look, more high-tech than anything else in the genre, and yet don't have the same spacefaring capabilities, don't have the same... Like, you would think they'd nuke everybody with the way they look.
They should just blow us all up, right?
Right? I mean, it feels like that's what the story should be. I know that's not a fun story, but... Just never been my favorite aesthetic in the 40K universe. when you look at that compared to like the kind of jumbled mess of orcs, the weird tech priest mechanicum stuff, the weird spirit stone technology, wraithbone technology of Eldar. I think all of that works. You stick Gundam in the middle of it, it doesn't feel right.
It's Wish.com Gundam.
Wish.com Gundam. I don't know if I was ready to go there, but okay.
I mean, I'll set us there.
I really like stuff like the Ghost Kill Battlesuit. I think is one of the coolest models in the 40K range. Just looking model to model stuff that is fun and would be fun to build and paint. But, you know, then I look at it within the confines of the story and narrative, and I'm like, it just doesn't fit.
I really like the Devilfish design for their tanks.
Yeah, their hover tank.
Yeah.
See, I think that the best redeeming thing out of Tau is the Kroot.
Yeah, Kroot are pretty cool.
And all the other little alien things they had that were working with them. And the flying Vespid sting wings, the Vespids.
Yep.
I really want a faction that is like that and the high-tech monkeys. You know? I guess they're actually like baboons.
Oh yeah, because those actually exist.
Yeah, they do. They're in the novels. There's one of them in an Imperial Guard regiment that fixes their command Baneblade all the time, and he fixes it as fast as it takes damage. It's insane, the way they tell the story. There's a model. The Jakaro, there's a model, right? That came out in like Blackstone Fortress. Jakaro Weaponsmith or something like that. They're like orangutans, not baboons, sorry. They're very primate with like very adept super brains and the AdMech should hire them basically. But the whole Death to Xenos thing gets in the way.
Yeah.
It turns out the whole filthy Xenos thing.
Are they considered an alien race?
What's that?
Are they considered an alien race?
Yeah, I think so. The Jokero? Somebody else could tell me in 40K if the Jokero are considered to be Xenos. They were like the Ratlings and the Ogrins. They were allowed to be part of it all, but got kind of written out at some point. Because they come from the time before, right? Where the story wasn't as focused. So there were a lot of different, you know, crazy sit around, come up with weird ideas for characters. But then when you had to turn it into a world of stories and full narrative, I don't think all of those things fit. Even Ogryn don't really make it in a whole lot anymore from what I've been reading. I didn't read all the Death of Cadia stuff. So there might be a bunch of Ogryn things going on there, but Abhuman, yeah, maybe so. Jess was like, I was down when it was a baboon. You lost me when it was a orangutan. think the novel is Pandarax. If I think about it.
Speaking of novels, I just started listening to Horse Rising.
Horus Rising, the first one?
Yeah. Or, well, I should say I continued listening to it while I was driving out to the place and back yesterday. And it was really good. Started getting to a good bit. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting. I'm curious where the story's going now.
That's the best start of any of them, right? Because isn't that the one where it starts with "I was there when Horus slew the emperor"?
Yes.
I think that's page 1.
Yeah, I think so.
First line.
Yeah, and then it confused me because I was like, what the heck is going on? And I didn't realize that it was like they're setting up the whole series.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a flashback or a flash forward or like a vision or something. So I got really confused.
I remember you saying that.
But yeah, it's really interesting kind of getting to the point where like they're talking about how sacred the bond of like the brotherhood is between Space Marines, and that it's like insanity that one would harm another one.
Yeah, because they go into all of the times when the legions would go do hey Tim, close your ears.
Yeah.
When the legions would go to a compliance, and you would have legions that now are mortal enemies in the 40K narrative, right? That would be, fighting in the gladiatorial rings as brothers, right? They're doing their trials and their tests together.
Yep.
And you'd have like a Emperor's Children character tied together with a Imperial Fist character, and they would be blood brothers, and they always fight together, and
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's crazy.
they set it up so that you understand, and they do a pretty good job of it,
Yeah.
of how big the Istvan thing. When the trigger is pulled and brother is killing brother, they really were trying to, I think, nail it and drive home the fact that this is huge. This is not just Space Marine on Space Marine action.
They started off really small with the part that I'm at right now, where like there's some Space Marines that are going crazy, and they start killing their own brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And Loken defends himself and kills one. And he's like, I have done a horrible thing.
Yeah.
And it's like a really big deal. And they make it sound like it's a huge deal, which is really cool from my perspective. So it's making me really interested to like continue reading on. And
They really kicked the series off good. I know that that you don't have to like it. It's not for everybody. But it does set the stage for this whole thing. Now, I've said a million times, you're a better man than I if you read all 57 before you get to the Siege of Terra.
I will not be reading all 57 before I get to Siege of Terra.
Yeah, I don't see that as being necessary. I don't think that any of that is... Well, not any of it, but, there's probably a dozen books that are really kind of noteworthy, definitely must-reads, and then a smattering of others just depending on what Legion you like, what you want to know about. I know, like, Creepy in chat has read... He may not be here today, but... he reads all the Dark Angel ones because he's a big Dark Angel fan. I did not, because I found the Dark Angel books to be a little lacking in interest for me. They just weren't written as well as some of the other ones. And they don't progress the story. They don't tell anything other than specific Dark Angel stuff that's really relevant. Every now and then they'll talk a little bit. There's a couple of the short stories that will jab in every now and then and give you like a zinger of, oh my gosh, that you would have never known had you not read that particular short story.
Yeah.
So that's a little frustrating because you never know
when those are coming up.
when those are coming. I can give you a good kind of primer on which ones do and don't, but yeah. Good series. Just good sci-fi.
Yeah. Exactly.
They build a great world. They have a good thing going. So it is neat to read. I think I'm going to do anything else on that guy. Guns are enough. Your guns are enough, boy. Fulgrim and Ferris. Very tight. So much so that Fulgrim continues to try to have Ferris cloned. I haven't read the Fabius Bile novels. Does Fabius have Ferris's head? I felt like Ferris, or not, I feel like Bile had Fabius's head because he was trying to do all his crazy genetic nonsense. Based on having a part of a Primarch to work backward from.
You trying to do great, dude?
Well, yeah, I think Fabius Bile was the one that Fulgrim had trying to bring back. Maybe that's not true because I don't think he was around then. But maybe, oh no, I think Fabius Bile was, right? Yeah, see, the thing, I always forget. The Chaos guys, a bunch of them fought in the Heresy because they went through the warp and time didn't work the same for them. Like Abaddon, all those guys were at the Siege of Terra because they went through the warp and they have not lived 10,000 years. Some of the stories that are awesome are where the guys in the Chaos guys that are fighting literally think they just fled Terra and they're in 40k.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they come out of the warp fighting. There's some stories where they come out fighting for dear life, but the whole universe has changed because they just fled Terra and are like a couple of years out from the Siege of Terra and are now facing, chapters they've never seen and colors that didn't exist and who are these things, and yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they talk about it in a lot of the 40k books. Which is kind of cool.
That warp stuff, huh?
He regrew Horus, but Horus was populated with a demon. It wasn't Horus, yeah. When they cloned Horus, there was a demon inside him, not Horus. There was just a body. They killed him, right? Abaddon slew him. I don't think that was Abaddon's idea. I think that was the rest of the leaders that had fled, the warband leaders and stuff at that point. Because in the Talon of Horus or Black Legion, one of those two, it goes through talking about how Abaddon despised the fact that they brought Horus back, and then he slew him. Abaddon didn't like his dad. Turns out
didn't much like the Horus dad.
Didn't like him at the point where the Siege of Terra was going on.
Interesting.
Thought his decision making was really off. Pissed off that he didn't leave the vengeful spirit for the entire time, while all of his people were down on Earth dying. Hell, Abaddon nearly died. All of the Justarin, except for Abaddon, died.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure there may have been a couple that lived, but all the big named ones that hadn't already turned into demons had, I think, got massacred when they found them under the palace. They tried to storm in under the palace, and that was when Abaddon nearly got beaten by Loken.
Okay, sounds right.
Garviel Loken, I think, that found him and fought him to a stalemate, and then Abaddon teleported out. Or who was the Luna Wolf? Was Loken the Luna Wolf?
Yeah.
Okay. Then it was Loken.
He is the one whose perspective Horus Rising.
Yeah. He's a big player in the whole thing.
Yes. He's like the...
As a matter of fact, he literally, in the last book, just found his way aboard the Vengeful Spirit.
Oh, really?
Yep. In the last Siege of Terra book, it kind of ends with all of the culmination of all of these characters that we know were there at the end, finding their way aboard the Vengeful Spirit to make way for book 2.
Pretty cool.
He finds his way to the Vengeful Spirit through a bookcase in the palace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the dimensions are folding in on themselves because so much chaos is flooding into Terra, and the Vengeful Spirit is the nexus for all of it.
Oh,
because of Horus being there.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy. It's overlaying like a map of the Chaos Plane onto Terra.
Oh,
and like maps of Terra during the time they're reading them, and the maps are changing. Like the overlay is changing. You can see hallways moving around and things like that, and the whole landscape is changing. It's really crazy.
Excited to get to those books. Be good.
They are very good. Except for that one before this last one. The Aaron Dembski-Bowden one. Pretty bad. I'd be interested. I wish I could snap my fingers and get you reading those, because I'd be interested to hear your take on them.
On the Siege of Terra?
Because I feel like I'm such an oddball. Everybody's like, best book ever. And I'm like, dude, that's literally the worst in the entire series. Like, it was not even close. Like, a lot of times I'm like, I can read the reviews and I can be like, oh, I can see where that person's coming from. They didn't like it, but I understand. You know? But the reviews for this next to the last one that ADB did are like night and day. I'm like, nah, you're insane. That book was horrible. Vulcan Lives, not so great. Yeah. Not so great. I don't think any of the Vulcan books really got their due. I think there are a lot of those that are kind of written as sidebar books that tell a little bit of story, but didn't really have enough of a primary tale to tell. Does that make sense? Like, they weren't books that made a ton of difference in the overarching story. Vulcan does, in general, which is why I think he should have gotten better books. Salamanders, in general, probably should have got better books. I'm hearing rumors that they're bringing back Jagatai Khan. That he'll be the next Primarch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in the game.
Be cool.
He gets saved by the Emperor, and that's pretty crazy.
Jagatai?
Yeah. Because he gets killed by Mortarion. Pretty much killed. He's killed other than like a single strand of his soul still hanging onto his body. They slew each other. Mortarion killed him, and he decimated Mortarion, sent him back to the Chaos Plane. He blew up, ruptured. Jagatai was an interesting character in the books because he didn't love his father. Felt like his father had no love for him.
The Emperor?
Yeah, but he had so much. He placed so much in honor that he refused to, follow Horus. And Vulcan was the same way. They're like doing their duty, but they all have questions, right? And I really like that setup because it doesn't really paint any of the Primarchs as being just, well, Daddy said do this.
Except for the few that did.
No, none of them did.
Really?
Yeah, not a single one that I can think of. Everybody thinks Dorn did, but he definitely didn't. Dorn questioned everything all along. Dorn was a very prideful, well, no, maybe not prideful, maybe it's the wrong word. He knew humility, very strong, but he questioned through the whole thing why they weren't allowed to do more, right? Why the Emperor was hiding things, why none of this was going the way it was supposed to. Gilliman, of course, founded the Unremembered Empire. He wrote the Emperor off. He was like, they're all dead. Let's start our own empire. So they started Imperium Secundus. He put Sanguinius on the throne. Pissed the lion off pretty good. Yeah, because when the warp storm divided the galaxy and they couldn't get to Terra, Gilliman figured that if the Astronomicon had gone down, that his father was dead. The Imperium was over. So he convinced the other Primarchs that were there to just, well, nothing we can do.
Make a new one.
Make a new one, the 500 worlds. They had ousted the word bearers after the Caliph betrayal.
How dare they?
Those books are not good, which is a shame.
The Word Bearers ones?
What's that? Yeah, the Betrayal at Caliph ones.
Oh, okay.
Are not good.
But are the Word Bearers ones themselves good?
If the Word Bearers Omnibus or whatever it is, First Heretic Omnibus or whatever they call it, those are good.
Okay.
Those are worth reading. I mean, most of those you'll find in the first 5 books, right? Because that's the fall of Horus is a lot of the Word Bearer stuff.
I guess that makes sense.
They orchestrate that whole thing.
Did they orchestrate it on purpose, or was it just like a result of them doing the things that they were doing?
No, they did it on purpose.
Okay.
They set it up. They set it up for him to be stabbed by the priest with the knife. The demon thing or whatever that nearly killed him, and he walked into chaos and
is this
made the
Samus or whatever the
soul pledge or whatever. No,
because that's the thing that's like they're going on about in the book I'm reading. But Samus is like a different demon, right?
Yeah, he's a very powerful demon. He's the
whatever the thing.
The one that nearly kills Rogel Dorn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When they arrive on Terra, he's inside Mercedes Alaton, whatever her name is, the Remembrancer.
Oh. I guess
I guess I shouldn't talk anymore.
No.
It's hard to not spoil things because you're so far behind.
Well, spoilers don't bother me.
Okay, good.
I find it really interesting because it gets me more interested because I'm like, oh well, let me hear about the backstory.
Because you're gonna find out everything you'd ever wanted to know about Mercedes. She's in all those books. She's the Remembrancer that's following Horus.
Yes, I have heard her parts in the story so far.
Yeah, they make the Remembrancers travel around and do exactly that. Write the history of the conquest of the galaxy. So they're there for this entire deal.
Yeah.
Watching the betrayals.
It's cool. I just finished watching or listening to like a scene where she's talking to Loken and Loken's telling her about like war stories. I think is really cool.
Yeah.
The actual like written lore is really cool because it takes some of the like the goofiness out of it and just turns it into like interesting sci-fi.
The better books do, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the bolter porn books are just bring back the goofiness.
Yeah.
They're still good. Some of the bolter porn is really cool. But yeah, read the Gaunt's Ghost novels. That's spectacular sci-fi. Military style sci-fi, right? It's the Imperial Guard trying to survive during a crusade.
Which I imagine is very difficult because humans are quite fragile in this
Quite
universe.
fragile compared. Well, a lot of that one is told where they in the Gaunt's Ghost stuff, it's very rare to see a Space Marine. I think in the end, there's a book, right, where they have, like, Gaunt calls on the legions to offer support during a thing he knows is going to be really, really hard to do, assaulting this position that has this grand arch nemesis chaos guy.
Yeah.
That's just a cult leader. And he gets 3, I think. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong there. I think he gets 3 Marines allotted
That's hilarious.
to help out. And those 3 Marines
Go ham.
absolutely go ham.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, it's incredible. It's like, I think one of them is an Iron Snake. I think there's a White Scar and a Space Wolf, maybe. And yeah.
And they just screw.
I don't think any of them
up.
die. I think one of them gets hurt really bad, but they literally, like, are, like, the only reason anything happens.
That's awesome.
How many books are the Siege of Terror? I think it's 9 total by the end, right? I think book 8 was this last one, The End and the Death. Erebus is a bastard. Yeah, Cor Farron, not a good person. Brulik, this is the end of the show, isn't it? Yes. Yes. Let's have the missing Primarchs. Enough with the recycling. The missing ones are dead, though. Right? Their skulls are on the throne. Supposedly. The Emperor had them. I mean, we know that the Emperor sent Russ after them. They don't tell a lot more of the story than that, but that's a conversation in maybe I want to say it's Betrayer, but I don't think that sounds right. But in one of the books, Magnus seeks refuge talking to Lorgar, and the conversation between the two of them is very, very good. Actually, it might be Magnus goes to comfort Lorgar after Lorgar gets slapped down by the Emperor and Guilliman for worshiping him. And that's where the conversation happens, where they discuss the fact that he doesn't want to go against the Emperor. Remember what happens to our other brothers when the Emperor sent Russ, right? So he's only like 65 books behind. Exactly. You're 2 books in on Gaunt's Ghost. Yeah, they're amazing. The first and only book is a great way to start a series. That's Abnett at his finest throughout that. It gets a little slim in like the 2/3 of the storyline. I mean, there's 15 books in that series? It gets a little slim around book 10. 11, I feel like. I'd have to go back and check those numbers, but I feel like that's right. Some beloved characters are just dead. He just kills wholesale a bunch of your most beloved characters about 2/3 of the way through the series. So it changes drastically after that. But some characters you hate become characters you love. So it's kind of masterful. It's just the changeover gets a little wonky. Punisher, what's the first you've heard of what? Burleague, what are you saying, Euphrates Keeler? Euphrates Keeler's still alive. She's on Earth. It's Mercedes Olaton that gets taken over by the demon and killed. I think Euphrates Keeler, unless I have them backwards. Euphrates Keeler's still alive. She's at the Siege of Terra. They put her in the Blackstone Fortress, right? They sealed her away, and then Dorn let her out, but said she couldn't go further than the palace, and let the Dorn reinstituted the Remembrancers because he felt like they were going to lose, and he wanted something to be remembered about this tragedy of brother on brother, and so he reinstituted the Remembrancers, and Euphrates Keeler was going around, but she's not really remembrancing very much. She's spreading Lorgar's truth, the Imperial truth. She has the Book of Lorgar, one of the copies, and is basically spreading the Imperial doctrine that Lorgar wrote in his book about how the Emperor is God, and she's preaching and has this weird following her around, and time slipping, and she's moving from one part of the palace to hundreds of kilometers away in the palace. Yeah, you merged them in your mind. Yeah, they're 2 different people. They were both Remembrancers, and Mercedes was the Remembrancer tied to Horus, if I remember correctly. It's a lot of remembering.
Yes. I'm not sure which one is which.
Punisher. That's one of the things that did happen in... I think it might have been the next to the last Siege of Terror book, is where they finally have a World Eater, a flashback to him fighting in a compliance where they scream, blood for the Emperor, not skulls for the Skull Throne, but they say the blood for the Blood God, like skulls for the Skull Throne, blood for the Blood God. It was an imperial chant, and I did not know that. Like, through all of these books I've read, I did not know that had been something that then was corrupted to become a dedication to Khorne. Like, there is a version of that the World Eaters would chant as they were going into battle that was praising the Emperor. Like, blood for the Emperor, skulls for the Golden Throne. I don't think it was Golden Throne, because I don't know that the Golden Throne existed yet, did it? Maybe it did. Maybe that's right. Blood for the Emperor, skulls for the Golden Throne. It might be. But I thought that was very intense when that showed up in a book. I was like, oh, hell yeah. That's one of those tingly moments. It's like, I get it now. The two Primarchs being skulls on the Golden Throne. Yeah, there is artwork out there that shows Malkador, I think, sitting on the throne after the Emperor goes to teleport aboard the Vengeful Spirit. He leaves Malkador to run the Golden Throne, and that's what kills Malkador. And Malkador, there's pictures of him on the Golden Throne, like artwork that's been done in the past, like old artwork, that has two skulls at the end of the arms of the Golden Throne that have etched into their foreheads the numbers of the missing legions. So that's another tingly moment.
Yeah,
that's like,
that's
aha.
brutal. Yeah.
So. Oh, does the priest character in Darktide say that? Arctic? That's cool. But yeah, Baby J, you only have to read 65 books. I want that done by Tuesday.
All right.
You still have to come to work, though.
Can I listen to them while I'm at work?
Yeah.
That's fine.
You can always listen to stuff at work. As long as you get your work done.
Okay.
I don't care. I think that's it for us today. How much you got done? Show us the good stuff.
Got a little bit more done on the non-metallic metal. And then
That gold is looking really, really good.
Yeah. Pretty happy with it. And then we got all the silver base coated. I was going to go in and give it a little, little dry brush real quick.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Very cool. I like it.
And then it'll be ready for the washing tomorrow.
No mechs, just traders today.
No mechs, just traitors.
No mechs, just traders. I think I've been yapping more than painting. I've been,
book reports for paychecks.
Book reports? He has to turn in a book report? I'm okay with that. No, I'm not.
I'll just have to, as I listen to the books while I'm typing up messages and stuff, or making cool worksheets, I'll have to make a mental note to just be like, Jason, this stuff is cool! Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly. It really is, too. I mean, if you nerd out on lore like I do, for things that, like the world building that you dig, it's like I just saw the little teaser. I think, it came out today.
The Dune trailer?
The Dune trailer's out today, isn't it?
Looks real good.
Oh, did you see it already?
I watched it during lunch, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen it yet. I saw the thing that said it was coming out yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no, I watched it during lunch.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'd nerd out on Dune. I'm still listening to, I've got like 3 books going on right now. I'm listening to the second book in the Great Death Legion, Battletech, just to get me hyped about Battletech, but they get very redundant, so I'm probably going to listen to this one and be done for a while. I'm listening to Mintats of Dune, and then I'm listening to, I forget what the title is. It's a fantasy novel that's not real great.
Well, you can replace your fantasy novel with?
I know. I need to do that.
Should. Genuinely, I think you would really enjoy it.
The
Malazan Book of the Fallen.
Malazan Book of the Fallen.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to try it.
First book is called Gardens of the Moon.
Don't forget to check out the Catalyst Centurion, says Stonewall. I will. It's going to be hard to convince me that it's better than MWO sculpt, though. This one's just brutal looking. This one looks like it's coming to smack you in the face, right? With the big, like, hand, claw, shield thing. I just like this one, but yeah. The old one always was funky to me, and I liked running a Centurion, but I didn't like the model. It was very skinny, very funny looking. But yeah. Malazan's your favorite? I need to do it. I need to buy it and see, and then if I hate it, I can blame all you people.
Here, I'll make this deal with you. If you listen to it, I will listen to it again. So
Take notes, chat. Take notes, chat.
So we can talk about it.
Okay.
Because I'm happy to read this book for the 4th time.
Wow.
Because every time I read it, I understand more about it, and it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take you up on that. We can nerd out about it on stream.
Yeah. Because I know enough about it that I can talk. So, I don't know if I told you this. The first couple of times that I read through the first couple of books, there's a guy on YouTube who does chapter by chapter
Analysis? Oh, wow.
So I would read the book, and then I would watch the chapter, and he does, like, the first 80% of the episode is non-spoiler. So he'll be like, here's an explanation of who these characters are, why you need to care about them, and what they're actually doing.
And then he warns you, okay, now past here, I'm going to talk about what happens next.
All right, and now we're going to talk about spoilers.
Right. That makes sense.
So,
yeah.
But they're really great for kind of learning.
I don't think it's too Macrossy at all. I mean, the Marauder is Macross, the Stinger, the Archer, right? Stuff like that. I think they've done a good job. I don't mind it, but I can see where you're coming from. All right, chat, that's it. We're done.
Why?
We're done.
We are done. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh, I listen at real time. I don't speed my books up. No way.
No
way.
time.
No way. I gotta focus, and I can't be focusing when it slightly takes their voice out of tune and stuff. Makes them sound like Alvin the Chipmunk.
Yep.
Check out the links that Jen is throwing up in the chat. The store for all the great Monument Hobbies products that we make. The Discord, because we have a wonderful multi-thousand artist community over there with lots and lots of daily chatter.
Yep.
Join us. Have fun. And the FLGS link there will get you to our store locator over on the site so you can find a place close to you, hopefully, that sells our stuff. If there isn't one, go kick them in the shins. Tell them they need to carry Monument Hobbies. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure to hit that follow button if you haven't already. We stream 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
12 to 2.
12 to 2.
And Tuesday and Thursday from
2 to 5.
Hey, I got you back with the pause.
There you go. There you go. 2 to 5. So 5 days a week to get to catch up with us and have some fun telling fart jokes and talking about lore in the crazy world of nerddom. We hope to see you back as many times as you can make it during the week. Stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid and send you off with some more hobby goodness into your evening. We will see you back here on the flip side. Have a wonderful evening. We're out.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.